going on? So this is the second podcast. I just finished up doing a bit over at this bar. Basically, I was doing their open mic night, and I bombed. Like, I did horrible. That was like the worst fucking feeling in the world. All right, bombing sucks. Like it's horrible. It's fucking bad. I mean, it was a little different than what I'm used to, which I've only done 2 open mics before this one. And it's basically like there was 4 people in the crowd. And, I'm used to like the comedy club. There's lights that are shining on you. It's really dark for the audience and everything. So you can't really see them that well. I mean, you can see them, but you can't see them that well. And that's what I'm used to, but that's not what happened tonight. It was 4 people. It was well lit. No one else was doing comedy. People go up there and sing and play the guitar and stuff. So I was like the only comic. My whole bit was about my grandpa. And, it's basically the whole bit is that my grandpa, he's a heavy dude. And, have you ever watched a fat old guy try to get into a Jeep? And I go through the whole thing about how he gets in, and it's kind of funny at a comedy club where they're expecting comedy and that's what they want. And, they laugh at it and everything. It kind of sucks at a bar where the three out of the 4 people are over the age of 60, and they're there to play the guitar, not to be made fun of. So this bit didn't go well, unfortunately. And I felt it. That was hard. I'm so used to this other comedy club that I went to 2 times. So I guess I'm not that used to it, but it's a very supportive club. Like they're going to laugh. They're going to, they're going to laugh, and they're going to be very nice, and they're not going to like boo you, and they're not going to be quiet. They kind of laugh no matter what. But the way I look at it is like that's like training wheels. Like I go there to, maybe that's where I want to try my new material out. Maybe not. That's where I go to kind of flesh things out, because they're going to help me out no matter what, right? But you kind of need to go to these other venues that they're just going to kick your fucking ass, and be like, yo, like they smiled. And then like, I swear one of the ladies actually rolled her eyes at me whenever I talked about him getting into the Jeep, and like having to grab his pants to pull his leg in. And like, I was making fun of that. She rolled her eyes at me, and like, don't get me wrong, I love my grandpa, but it was a joke. The whole thing is a joke. It's not meant to be actually offensive. I mean, it is kind of offensive, but that's what makes it funny. You're saying shit you're not really supposed to say. That's what's funny about it. And they weren't really for it. That was my first time ever experiencing that. That shit fucking sucked, man. Jeez, dude, like, and I'm going back there tomorrow. It's gonna be fucking trash. But I've been thinking about different things to do with this podcast. I'm not really sure what the fuck we're gonna do, man. Like this is kind of just a hobby, I'm just kind of fucking sending it. And I know it's not original, but I want to have conversations with people because I really like that. To me, it's pretty fun to have a good conversation with people. I'm looking for in-person conversations. Like I've got some buddies, that are comics or whatever over at the comedy club. I'd like to bring them on and have some conversations with them, just like hang out, have fun, talk. But, the problem is I only got this one microphone, and I think it'll work. Like I'm 2.5 feet away. I'm pretty sure they could be there. And then I use the laptop camera, right? So I guess we could probably make it work. And eventually I'll invest in getting another fucking microphone and a camera or something. We'll see. But there's that. This coming up Friday, I'm planning on having my friend. He's going to be coming on to the podcast this Friday at, we're going to have our conversation at around 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. So that'll probably come out Saturday or late Friday. And it's going to be a video call that we're going to record. I'm going to try Zoom, see, hopefully that fucking works. But he's kind of a conspiracy nut. He's really into talking about the ways that the government is manipulating us. I know he wants to talk a lot about Ukraine, things like that. I'm really excited to have the conversation with him. He's a fun dude to talk to. It's a bit crazy, but he's kind of fun to talk to. And what's interesting is I've only known him I only met him through Xbox, actually, about 10 years ago. And that's how we met. And we've been talking ever since. We haven't actually met in person. I've met with a handful of people that I like in person that I met online. He's one that I haven't. We just really haven't crossed paths. There never was that opportunity to do that. But hopefully this video call, it goes good. And hopefully you enjoy the conversation with us. That's my hope. And we were talking about how to do it because we're both very new to this. He's never been on a podcast. I've never had a podcast. But and I don't want to like name drop or, say that we're copying whoever. But I really like the whole idea of this isn't like I'm not trying to create some fucking big ass, theme and write scripts and shit like that and just try to fucking like organize like an entertaining shit. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I like the whole idea of just talking and entertaining. Maybe you enjoy the conversations that I get to have on the YouTube channel. Because I have listened to hours upon fucking hours of YouTube videos that are podcasts and shit. And I've gotten so much out of them. It's going to be very interesting trying to run my own. The first video I felt pretty cringy about. I'm just going to leave it, whatever the fuck happens, happens. But, I'm trying to stay away from some of the more cliche type of YouTube channels, and I'm not hating, I'm really not, but like I don't want this to be like, you guys are my fans, like fucking, hey, we're gonna do this contest, and like if you like and subscribe to this video, your name will be put in a fucking hat. We're gonna draw it Friday, and whoever gets it gets a free mug with my name on it. Like I just find that shit so fucking cringy, man. Like I don't want to do that. But we'll see how it goes. I just want to have conversations. I want to get my thoughts out there, and maybe I can get some feedback about my thoughts, like what the fuck y'all think about my shit, right? And yeah, that's basically the whole idea behind this podcast. I didn't know what the fuck to name it either, because who knows? Maybe like one day it could become like a show where we're actually fucking like trying to entertain people and shit. I don't know, but I was like, well, if we're not going to do that to start, I'm just going to put my fucking name on it. And this is me. This is my microphone, camera. I get to just fucking talk. Right? I thought like about a Monday like morning show or something. I thought that'd be cool. I listen to a couple of those too sometimes, where it's like weekly. They just hop on in the morning and they're like, yo, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And those are fun. But yeah, the last video I talked about like weed and other things. That's a problem, because they have certain types of weed already legal, like the Delta 8 strain, which isn't anywhere near as strong as like regular weed, but it still is weed. You can purchase this in any state where normal marijuana is illegal, and it will get you high because it does have trace amounts of THC in it, but it won't get you as high, and it's not the same kind of high. It's very different, and it's weaker in my opinion from what I've tried. And yeah, it sure would be nice if Tennessee would legalize that. Um, yeah, and I think some of the arguments against it, and I'm not disrespecting anyone that holds like an opposite view, but it seems to me that it's kind of old school propaganda that gets people not interested or not interested in legalizing the, weed. I did, however, find a study because like a lot of people think there's nothing wrong with weed ever. That's just not true. There actually is scientific studies that suggest that weed is bad for you, right? I'm going to find that for you real quick. So if you go to nida.nih.gov, which is like, and it's a .gov, right? And this is like a study done by scientists. It says marijuana refers to the dried leaves, flowers, stems, and seeds from the cannabis sativa or cannabis indica plant. The plant contains the mind-altering chemical THC and other similar compounds. Extracts can also be made from the cannabis plant. Marijuana is the most commonly used addictive drug after tobacco and alcohol. Its use is widespread among young people. In 2018, more than 11.8 million young adults used marijuana in the past year. According to the Monitoring the Future survey, rates of past year marijuana use among middle and high school students have remained steady, but the number of teens in 8th and 10th grade who say they use it daily has increased. Now, I don't know how much you could trust like middle schoolers claiming what they do, because I know when I was in middle school, I said a bunch of shit just to like, be cool, right? I was like, yeah, man, yeah, dude, I've been in like 25 fights, bro, and I've won every single one of them, bro. Like just dumb shit like that. So I could totally see like a teenager being like, yeah, I smoke pot every day, man. Even though he's probably like never touched pot in his whole fucking life. With the growing popularity of vaping devices, teens have started vaping THC, the ingredient in marijuana that produces the high, with nearly 4% of 12th graders saying they vape THC daily. In addition, the number of young people who believe regular marijuana use is risky is decreasing. So I think that's a good point because I used to be very straight edge, wouldn't touch the stuff ever, right? And yeah, that's changed. That's changed. I'm very much okay with it now. And I have vaped it before. But there is a concern I have with vaping, and I don't know what exactly like if vaping is that bad. I don't think any of us really know yet. We're not going to know until people my age are like 60 something. It's a little scary, because there's a lot of people that say, oh yeah, vaping's still fucking bad. You're going to get popcorn lung, right? And the idea is like, I guess there's like a disease or some shit, for people that work in movie theaters, they can get it. It's called popcorn lung, where they're inhaling the vapor that's produced by popcorn when they're popping it. I don't know exactly, but they're saying you get the same shit from vaping. I don't know, but I still think that it beats the hell out of smoking cigarettes, because when you smoke cigarettes, you are predisposed to, I think I used that word right, predisposed, whatever. Basically, you could get cancer. It will affect your lung capacity, right? I've seen people towards the end of their lives struggling to breathe, and they have a can next to their bed that they have to roll over and cough into and hack up like fluids and shit because they smoked their whole life. So I think vaping probably beats that, but I don't think we should fool ourselves into thinking that it's safe. And same thing with weed, right? Because like if you fucking light weed, and I'll still smoke weed. I don't give a fuck, but I'm not naive. Like I realize like, I'm lighting something on fire, I'm inhaling the fucking smoke. That's probably not good, right? That's what I think, at least. But back to the study. Let me go ahead and pull this up. Legalization of marijuana for medical use or adult recreational use in a growing number of states may affect these views. Oh, wait, there was something else here. Yeah, is it wrong for people to think that marijuana isn't bad for you if it's not bad for you? Is it bad for you? Let's find out. So, how do people use marijuana? People smoke marijuana in hand-rolled cigarette joints or in pipes or water pipes, bongs. They also smoke it in blunts, emptied cigars that have been partly or completely refilled with marijuana to avoid inhaling smoke. Some people are using vaporizers. These devices pull the active ingredients, including THC, from the marijuana and collect their vapor in a storage unit. A person then inhales the vapor, not the smoke. Some vaporizers use a liquid marijuana extract. I was actually thinking about using a vaporizer because I heard that you save a lot of weed. I don't have weed right now. I don't even have anywhere to get it, but whenever I do at some point in the future, eventually, I was thinking about doing it because like it said something like you only use like 40% of the weed that you would normally use. Seems like the way to go. But I know bongs are a lot more fun. I'm sad, people. I don't have weed. People can mix marijuana in food, edibles, in fact, gummies, legally purchased in Michigan, such as brownies, cookies, or candy, or brew it as a tea. A newly popular method of use is smoking or eating different forms of THC-rich resins. Marijuana extracts. Let's get past this. How does marijuana affect the brain? All right. Marijuana has both short and long-term effects on the brain. THC acts on numerous areas in the brain in yellow. So this is probably going to be horrible, but I'm going to try. So that's you probably couldn't see shit, but you have the link. You can go fucking look for yourself. Short-term effects. When a person smokes marijuana, THC quickly passes from the lungs into the bloodstream. The blood carries the chemical to the brain and other organs throughout the body. The body absorbs THC more slowly when the person eats or drinks it. It's a fact. In that case, they generally feel the effects after 30 minutes to 1 hour. If you're fucking with edibles, eat a little bit. Don't eat anymore for an hour unless you're experienced and you know what you're doing. But if you're new, I haven't had a bad experience on edibles at all, and I've ate a lot of them. Just by following that rule, handling and eating an amount that I know I can handle, and then I don't touch it for an hour. If I feel like I'm not like, yeah, probably want to go a little more, then I'll eat it. If not, then I'm good. But worst thing that's going to happen is you're not going to be as high as you want to be for a little bit. It's much better than the opposite. THC acts on specific brain cell receptors that ordinarily react to natural THC-like chemicals. These natural chemicals play a role in normal brain development and function. Marijuana, blah, 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 blah. Okay. It says it overactivates parts of the brain. And this is what causes the high feeling. Other effects can include altered senses, for example, seeing bright colors. I guess. I don't think it really fucks with things I see that much, though. But maybe someone else. Altered sense of time, that's true. Yeah. Changes in mood, I guess. But I think they're kind of implying, something a little darker, like you get really fucking pissed off and shit. For me, I would just kind of mellow out. Like I would just sit here and stare at the fucking ceiling or some shit. Impaired body movement. Okay. I don't recall ever having an issue. I've done workouts high. I don't know what they're talking about. Difficulty with thinking and problem solving. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're still thinking. You're just thinking a lot different. Impaired memory. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe it's because you're not fucking like paying attention to shit. I don't know. Hallucinations when taken in high doses. I haven't seen anything ever, but maybe I just haven't done enough. I don't know. Be careful, use it responsibly, you know. Delusions, psychosis, long-term effects. Marijuana also affects brain development. When people begin using marijuana as teenagers, the drug may impair thinking, memory, and learning functions and affect how the brain fluids, or excuse me, and learning functions and affect how the brain builds connections between the areas necessary for these functions. Researchers are still studying how long marijuana effects last and whether some changes may be permanent. So this is something I actually did read once in another study. I think if you're somewhere north of 25, you're safe. I'm not a fucking doctor, obviously, so don't take everything I say with 2 grains of salt. But from what I read from these studies, and what I understand from them, if you're north of 25, you're fine, because like your brain's already been fully developed. If you're somewhere south of 25, that's when it's a problem, because if you smoke marijuana as a teenager, like this is saying, it could affect the development of your brain, and you don't want that, you know. Okay. For example, a study from New Zealand conducted in part by researchers at Duke University showed that people who started smoking marijuana heavily in their teens and had an ongoing marijuana use disorder lost an average of 8 IQ points between ages 13 and 38. The lost mental abilities didn't fully return in those who quit marijuana as adults. Those who started smoking marijuana as adults showed notable IQ declines. So there you have it, folks. Like, I mean, if you do it while you're young, not a good idea. If you're young and you're listening, not sure that you're going to listen to me, but not that you should, not that I'm anybody, but like, according to the study, you probably shouldn't fuck with it. I tried it at like 22, which was probably before I should have tried it, but I only did it for like a couple months. Then I went and joined the army. But in another recent study on twins, those who used marijuana showed a significant decline in general knowledge and in verbal ability. Between the preteen years and early adulthood, but no predictable difference was found between twins when one used marijuana and the other didn't. This suggests that the IQ decline in marijuana users may be caused by something other than marijuana, such as shared familial factors, i.e. genetics and family environment. NIDA's adolescent brain cognitive development study, a major longitudinal study. And I think if I understand what that longitudinal study is, that's basically when someone's like, when they're following a group of people for an extended period of time, maybe like a decade, 2 decades, something like that, and then seeing the results. Is tracking a large sample of young Americans from late childhood to early adulthood. Yeah, see, to help clarify how and to what extent marijuana and other substances alone and in combination affect the adolescent brain development. And it says that you can read more about it. Okay. Physical effects, breathing problems. Marijuana smoke irritates the lungs. People who smoke marijuana frequently can have the same breathing problems as those who smoke tobacco. These problems include daily cough and phlegm, more frequent lung illness, and a higher risk of lung infections. Researchers so far haven't found a higher risk for lung cancer in people who smoke marijuana. So if you're concerned with your health, maybe stick to edibles. I know they're not as fun, but like maybe keep the smoking version of that. Like that's like a occasional thing. I don't know. At least according to the study, that sounds like it would be a good idea. But it's not carcinogenic, at least not from what they've found so far. Doesn't mean it's not, but they haven't found that yet. Unless, of course, you're like putting it in fucking cigar blunts or some shit. Then again, might be wonderful, but because it has that tobacco in it, you know, then it does become carcinogenic. Increased heart rate. Marijuana raises heart rate for up to 3 hours after smoking. I didn't know that. This effect may increase the chance of heart attack. Older people and those with heart problems may be at higher risk. Problems with child development during and after pregnancy. Yeah, you probably shouldn't fucking smoke while you're pregnant. Definitely shouldn't smoke while you're pregnant. One study found that about 20% of pregnant women 24 years old and younger screened positive for marijuana. However, this study also found that women were about twice as likely to screen positive for marijuana use via a drug test than they state in self-reported measures. This suggests that self-reported rates of marijuana use in pregnant females is not an accurate measure of marijuana use and may be underreporting their use. Additionally, in one study of dispensaries, non-medicinal personnel at marijuana dispensaries were recommending marijuana to pregnant women for nausea, but medical experts warn against it. This concerns medical experts because marijuana use during pregnancy is linked to lower birth weight and increased risk of both brain and behavioral problems in babies. If a pregnant woman uses marijuana, the drug may affect certain developing parts of the fetus's brain. Children exposed to marijuana in the womb have an increased rate of problems with attention, memory, and problem solving compared to unexposed children. Some research also suggests that moderate amount of THC are excreted into the breast milk of nursing mothers. With regular use, THC can reach amounts in breast milk that could affect the baby's developing brain. Okay, yeah, just don't fucking smoke weed if you're pregnant. God damn, dude. Holy shit. Whew. Like, what the fuck are you smoking weed for if you're fucking pregnant, man? I'm not on, this isn't like a rant channel. I'm not trying to fucking rant or hate on anyone. But I mean, yeah, like, just don't do drugs if you're pregnant. Intense nausea and vomiting. I've heard about that. My buddy calls it greening out. Basically, like you do way more weed than you're able to. Like like your tolerance isn't that high and you fucking do way more weed than your tolerance allows and you get fucking sick. So again, just be responsible with this shit, folks. And look, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to talk down to fucking anyone. It's just some of this stuff just seems common sense. Like, yo, you got a little human growing in your body, don't fucking get him high. Like he's an infant. He's not even an infant yet. Or she, whatever. And don't smoke more weed than you can handle. I don't know. I sound like a judgy prick right now. I fucking hate it. But you reports of deaths related to vaping. The Food and Drug Administration has alerted the public to hundreds of reports of serious lung illness associated with vaping, including several deaths. That's scary because I have vaped before. They are working with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, to investigate the cause of these illnesses. Many of the suspect products tested by the state's federal health officials have been identified as vaping products, including or containing THC, the main psychotropic ingredient in marijuana. Some of the patients reported a mixture of THC and nicotine, and some reported vaping nicotine alone. No one substance has been identified in all the samples tested, and it is unclear if the illness is related to one single compound. Until more details are known, FDA officials have warned people not to use any vaping products bought on the street, and they warn against modifying any products purchased in stores. They are also asking people and health professionals to report any adverse effects. Yeah, you don't want to fuck with this shit. I have vaped, but it's probably not a good idea. Long-term marijuana use has been linked to mental illness in some people, such as temporary hallucinations, temporary paranoia, worsening symptoms in patients with schizophrenia. Yeah. While it's possible to fail a drug test after inhaling secondhand marijuana smoke, it's unlikely. Studies show that very little THC is released in the air when a person exhales. Okay. All right. Anyways, that seems to be the study. I've learned some things here myself. and reaffirmed some things that I already knew. The first one being that marijuana smoke is not good. I knew that. Second one being that it's not good for young people to do it. Third one being that vaping's not good. Like, these are all things that we all kind of know already. But there you go. There's a fucking study for you. Again, that link is nida.nih.gov, and it's their cannabis marijuana study. It should pop up. I'll tell you what I typed in on Google. I typed in weed effects research, and that came up as the first link. So yeah. Anyways, folks, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up there. I had no idea where this podcast was gonna go when I first started. It just kind of fucking went there. But anyhow, thanks for listening and have a good one.